I think because we live in this world of like filters and sexy bodies, people are craving authenticity and realness. That's all my Instagram is. It's to create trust and community, showing people I know how to engage, showing people that, hey, I know how to drive people from Instagram to a real life event, pack out an event with 150 people on Super Bowl Sunday. Like, what in the world? This girl is so legit. And that's why I'm not going for these $500, $800 monthly shout outs. I'm going for $10,000 monthly deals with brands.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to episode 87 of the Andrew Deitch podcast. Happy Monday. Hope you guys had an amazing weekend. This was a record-breaking week for the podcast. Over 1,100 people were accessing the podcast per day. So that's really exciting as always. If this is your first time joining me here, definitely want to thank you so much for checking it out. There's so many options for you to choose from, so I'm always super humbled that my voice is even hitting your eardrums right now. And in case you didn't know, this podcast is all about having real, meaningful, uninterrupted conversations with the most fascinating people that I know. People that are outliers, they're go-getters, entrepreneurs, world travelers, athletes, pretty much anybody who relentlessly goes after their dreams and goals. And today I have a very, very special guest. But before we jump into the show, I want to quickly thank today's sponsor, Brooke Watson of Keller Williams, Chattahoochee North. And I'm always trying to lead with value first, so instead of reading some boring ads, Brooke and I have been answering your real estate questions, and on the past few episodes, we've been talking to another expert, so hopefully you learned something from him, and I'll be right back to start the show.
Yes, this is Brooke Watson with Keller Williams, Chattahoochee North, and this is my preferred loan officer, Jeff Buckweights with Shelter Home Mortgage, here to talk to you guys today as a guest on the podcast.
Thank you, Brooke. So, Jeff, we've gotten some questions from some young people who are really sick of the whole roommate thing and, dealing with a landlord, but they don't really see any other way. And buying doesn't really seem like an option to them. So what advice do you have for those people?
Well, I mean, if you look at where we are in a market right now, or in Atlanta, there's a lot of young people, there's a lot of first-time home buyers, people stepping into real estate. The average down payment with our clients, from experienced buyers to people that are first-time, the average is about a 7% down payment, which is allowing people to get into homes without a lot of money and being able to, either they don't have it to put down or they want to preserve some of their money so that they can make upgrades and buy furniture and that kind of thing. We're doing a lot of loans for folks that are just out of college where they have a solid job, they're getting compensated, W-2 income, that kind of thing. And then their previous employment's really their college history. And so you don't have to work for 2 years before you get before you can get a mortgage. You don't even have to work 6 months. You just have to have a good job that looks like that employment's going to continue. So we have a lot of people that think they can't buy that can.
All right. Thank you, Jeff and Brooke. If you have any real estate related questions, make sure you send them our way so we can provide some insight. And if you're interested in working with Brooke, her website is brookewatson.house. Again, thank you to Brooke Watson of Keller Williams, Chattahoochee North for sponsoring this episode and introducing us to Jeff Buckweights from Shelter Home Mortgage. All right. The time has come, my friends. My guest today is Umama Kibria, also known as smallandstrong.fit on Instagram, where she has 110,000 raving fans, and rightfully so. She has created a cult-like following by being completely transparent in everything that she does. Bad days, good days, workouts, meal plans. She shares everything with her audience, and the best part is she really does interact with her community. She's constantly DMing people back and responding to comments on her post. But she currently runs SAS Brands, which is an agency that helps develop social media strategies for health and fitness brands, and she also hosts some amazing fitness events and is constantly connecting and collaborating with other influencers in the fitness space. She's one of the sweetest and most genuine people that I've met through the podcast, and shout out to Stephanie Jewett from episode 81 for introducing us. This wouldn't have been possible without her. But all right, enough talking from me. Without any further ado, please welcome my friend, Umama Kibria. All right, so we are live with Umama Kibria. That's how you say your last name, right?
Yes, Kibria.
Kibria, very cool. And
I
what?
said my first name properly too. That's usually where most people like drop like a rap song or something.
I feel you. Hey, before we go too deep,
Yeah.
can you change the microphone to be a little bit down closer?
Yes.
And then just try to make your hair not hit it because it'll like.
Oh, vibrations. Yes.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
All right. Hello, everyone. So for people that are just listening to the audio replay of this, we are recording a live stream, so that's really fun. I don't always do that, but it's always fun when I can. So anyways, for people that don't know you, I feel like I could try to explain what you do, but in your own words, what do you do? Because you do a lot of stuff.
I think the best phrase is I connect people. It's my passion, whether it's through social media, whether it's through events, or just through text communication and just linking random people together. I'm the person that makes things happen, really because I thrive off collaborations and connection. So I've done that through my social media platform, which most people know me for, Small and Strong. And through that, I've been able to create this amazing community of women and just people that genuinely want to use fitness to empower their lives. So
That's awesome.
yeah, I've shared my story on there, but because of the momentum I gained on there, I realized there was a gap in the market for understanding fitness marketing. So that's where my background in marketing and advertising kind of came together. And I started my own agency called SAS Brands and an event series to go along with that. So I'm excited to kind of dive into that with you.
That's awesome. Okay, so take us back. Number one, what ethnicity is your name? Because you have a very interesting name.
Yeah. It is Bengali. It means motherly and kind-hearted.
That's very nice.
I think it kind of fits for who I am.
Yeah, that's great. And so do most people call you Umama, or do they call you like nicknames or?
It's funny. So they call me Umama, but for the longest time, I was working so hard to come up with a nickname for myself because I was just like, what? If people can't get this Umama thing, what can they call me? And then a drunk sorority sister one day said Umams sophomore year, and that was like, yes, finally.
Umams.
So, Umams. It rolls off the tongue. So
That's great.
cool things like that.
Very, very cool. I feel like it's good to have your name is very, once you know how to say it, it's easy to say, and it's very unique, so I feel like it's kind of a good thing, especially from like a marketing side.
Exactly, right? I mean, I actually just recently listened to a podcast where they were just like, your name is the most holy word that you love hearing. And so that's why like it's such a great key to connection, right? Like I just asked you about your last name, Deitch, right? Harsh.
Yeah,
H.
Deitch.
Deitch.
Yes.
But that's so important for me to repeat it back to you, ask about it, because then you know that I'm genuinely connected to you and I want to actually get to know you.
Exactly. And especially if you have a hard to pronounce name that you're always correcting people. Normally I just roll with it. I'm like, yeah, whatever. But if they get it right, it's kind of like, all right, you took the extra effort.
Exactly. Wait, do you have any nicknames?
Not really. People just call me by my last name sometimes, just like Deitch, what up? But yeah, that's pretty much it. It's not nothing too crazy. Some people call me Drew, like not very often though, like only like a couple people. I don't feel like a Drew. I feel like and Andy's kind of like a little kid name.
Yeah, you're an Andrew.
Yeah, Andrew. It's gonna stick. It's already stuck.
Any pet names from your parents?
I've never shared this on the podcast before. My mom called me Android, even before like Android was like a thing. So my mom would call me Android, and like all kinds of variations of that. And
do you own an Android?
Yes, I do.
Guys.
So it works out. I'm an Android fanboy. Like I love Android. So
Team iPhone.
Yeah, I'm definitely rocking the Samsung. I'm not a Samsung loyalist though. Like everyone thinks like, oh, Samsung, that's like your thing, but I'm like, I don't really care. I just like Android. So
but why is it that you lean towards an Android versus an iPhone?
So when I first got a smartphone, like my parents didn't want to buy me not necessarily they didn't want to buy me an iPhone. It was like I had iPods growing up, so like I had an iPod Touch. So it's kind of like I wanted to, I don't even remember exactly why, but I got an Android and I had an iPod Touch. So I kind of had the best of both worlds.
Okay.
But I started to like appreciate Android because it was way more customizable, because I was always jailbreaking my iPod because I wanted to do cool things to it.
Yeah.
But with Android, there's no need to jailbreak because they let you have way more customization. So I was just really into that. And then every time I picked up an iPhone, I just felt like it was like a slightly dumbed down version, because you couldn't customize certain things. Like I had grown accustomed to like just being able to download stuff off the web browser. And then when I got an iPhone, I'm like, what do you mean you can't just download a song? You have to like go into iTunes, and like, it just pissed me off that they like restricted lots of things. So, yeah, so I don't know. I've just always been Android, but I don't necessarily have anything like against Apple in any, like, I don't know. Of course there's the rivalries, but.
Well, for the longest time, I was team Android too, and I was so adamant about I'm never converting to the iPhone craze. And this is like back when I think it was like iPhone 3 was really big. But for me, it just for my creative background, when it came down to storage space and really streamlining communication and all the app features, iPhone just wins. And really, I cannot tell you how much I hate Android quality photos. I swear people upload pictures that are all grainy and filmy. I'm like, that's an Android, I can't talk to you. Or like the whole chat.
The iMessage green bubbles.
Oh my God. I see a green bubble with a new person and I'm like, no, I can't talk to you.
Right? No, I don't know. I'm kind of weird on that. Like where I've stuck with Android for so long that like when I pick up iPhones, I just don't like it and I can't do it. But there's a lot of things with the apps that are annoying is like, for example, Snapchat, like they cater the app on iOS like way better. They've tweaked it so that the camera is like way better when you upload from an Android phone. Like it's just worse quality and stuff like that. But if you look at the new Android phones, they actually have good cameras. So I don't know about the uploads.
Actually, I did try one yesterday that I was like, what? This is a Samsung? How'd this happen?
The Samsung, like the new Samsung cameras have been like really good.
Yeah. Well, so you are also into photography and videography, right? What do you like shooting on?
So I kind of recently got into that, but I was for the longest time just shooting on literally a GoPro, like walking around with a GoPro, because my friend Ryan, he taught me how to do these edited stories, like these Instagram stories that were highly edited, but they were shot for portrait. So the reason why I chose a GoPro, he told me, he's like, you don't want to be carrying around a giant camera when you're trying to like take little like vlog things of your day, because everyone looks at you weird. You have a camera. If you have this little GoPro, it's so tiny and you can turn it sideways so you can shoot in portrait extremely easily. So then it's designed exactly for Instagram stories. And then you can just carry it around. You can put it in the gym, like it doesn't look weird. So then I was shooting on that for a long time, and then I started getting people asking me like to make videos for them and stuff. And then I just felt like kind of an imposter because I was just using this GoPro. So then I just decided to bite the bullet and get like a real camera. So I got a Canon 7DD recently. Okay. So I'm still like learning about video and stuff like that, but I kind of had a knack for it, I guess, because I've always been interested in it. But
wait, that's such an awesome topic you brought up, because I'm actually hosting a workshop next Wednesday called how to build your brand on Instagram with camera confidence, because so many people, especially in the fitness industry, really to push your brand, you've got to take videos. You've got to build your personality on there. But a lot of people aren't necessarily comfortable with having a phone in their face or a big camera. But I love the idea of having a GoPro and already being formatted for stories. Like it takes away the work and it's like something you clip onto you. Super simple.
Yeah, super golden nugget right there, because especially like the GoPro Session, it's a cube. So what you do to shoot in portrait, you literally just rotate it 90 degrees and all of the cases and mounts are all the same size, whether you shoot it in like this or like this, 90 degrees or regular. So it's almost designed so that you can shoot in portrait. Unfortunately, when you go back to edit, you have to flip all of your clips 90 degrees. And like most editing softwares are not designed to be editing in a vertical format, which is annoying, but I kind of like having to hack it because it's more fun. And
Well-
you feel like you're doing something that other people aren't doing. You're like, I'm ahead of the curve. I'm shooting in portrait, bro.
Well, look at it. But a iPhone hack for that, if you download iMovie on your phone, you can actually use your fingers to twist it, and then it becomes portrait mode. So, Team iPhone, once again,
All right.
for the win.
All right,
But,
all right.
hey, you like the adventure, so that's awesome.
Exactly.
But how did you develop that camera confidence? Do you feel like you are talking to people on video right now?
Yeah, I guess I'm talking to people on video. This is the 86th episode of the podcast, so
Okay.
I'm pretty comfortable at this point. But I think talking to the camera is something that you kind of have to get used to. When I was younger, I would always make stupid videos on my first phones. They weren't even like smartphones. I had like the LG Envy. It was like a flip up thing. And I would make random movies with my friends. When I got the iPod Touch, the second one that I got had a camera on it.
Oh,
So I was always
game
making
changer.
videos on that. Yeah, so I don't know. I think it's just something you have to get accustomed to. And I'm definitely not insecure about talking to the camera when I'm by myself. But when you're around crowds, sometimes it's a little more awkward. So a hack that I used to do a ton of Snapchat. When I was traveling, I would make a lot of Snapchat videos. One thing that I would do is I would literally, if let's say I was at the Eiffel Tower or something like that, and I'm like trying to show the Eiffel Tower, but I'm trying to talk about it and say like some cool fact about it, instead of being like, all right guys, I'm at the Eiffel Tower, and like holding my phone, I would hold my phone like really close to my mouth so the microphone was really close, but the camera was that way, and I'd be like, hey guys, look, I'm at the Eiffel Tower, blah blah.
So, like,
and
a
I might have
mini
still looked
voiceover.
weird. Yeah, it was like a mini voiceover, but it was like I wasn't holding my phone super far and like trying to make a scene, because I didn't want to be that tourist guy, because I hate being like the quote unquote tourist. So I would try to be like more subtle with it.
Okay, I like that hack. And voiceovers work really well because people are visual individuals. That's how
Definitely.
they like learning.
Definitely.
But I love that hack because so many people right now are really struggling to build their brand, and they'll shoot this content, they'll get pictures and stuff, but no one's really creating like a cult following or fans and followers that are really into their lives. But that one factor is what sets these influencers and impactors apart. And
Definitely.
brands want to work with people that actually have a lifestyle brand that has a personality, right? Like you're showcasing that through the podcast and offering just so much value. But there's so many other streams of just like social platforms right now, and Instagram being such a key social platform for connection. I think the biggest breakthrough has been Instagram stories.
Definitely.
It's like Snapchat, where it's ephemeral content, right? So it goes away. So if you are really just building up that confidence, at first it's just like seeing your face. But what I kind of have a question for you is, what do you feel like is that mentality or mindset that holds people back from getting comfortable?
In front of the camera?
Yeah.
I think they don't want to put themselves out there. They don't want to feel like they are, I don't know. It's like part imposter syndrome and part they feel like they don't have anything special to say or anything to offer. Like that was one thing that kind of held me back from starting the podcast earlier, was I kind of felt like, what am I going to call this thing? I'm like, the Andrew Dice Podcast. Wow, make it all about myself, And like, who am I? Who am I to make this thing? But I think you just have to go for it. And the coolest thing is, I have never had anyone, at least to my face, say anything seriously negative like that. Like, oh wow, Andrew's tooting his own horn over here. Like everyone's always excited when they see someone that has the confidence in themselves. They want to jump on board and they want to be a part of what you're doing. Like they definitely are. As soon as I posted some stuff about the podcast, people were jumping on board. Like the listens were through the roof, and I just didn't even understand why. But it was just because, number one, I wasn't like a shitty person to begin with. Like I
very
had
important.
friends, I had people I don't know, respected me, whatever. But I think once I did something that they could grab onto,
Yes.
they were excited to go along with the ride. And I feel like that was the case with you too, right? Because you started this journey of fitness seriously a couple of years ago, right? So take us back to that for a second. So for the people that are listening, my audience might not know who you are.
Yeah.
So what was your journey like to get to small and strong fit that we know now?
I think it's been the same person that I am today. It started actually 3 years ago, March 27th, I started my Instagram profile, and it really started with BBG, which was this huge community of just girls that wanted to do a short, effective program. But
What's BBG stand for?
Bikini Body Guide by Kayla Itzina. So she has a cult following. Like, she's an
Nice.
amazing, empowered woman. And I was part of the normal cardio train, right? Like, everyone's just like, oh, I want to get fit. I'm going to drop my calories and do a shit ton of cardio. So once I got over that mentality, and I was just like, no, like, I'm not here to just transform my body. I need to transform my life. It was literally a Friday night on February 27th. I had a major breakdown. I was, everything was kind of falling apart in life. It was post-college. I wasn't really clear about my job situation. My relationship was kind of blurry. My family, my friends, I just didn't know what I was doing. So I step into this shower, 10 p.m. Friday night. I'm just like, I'm going to wash away all this pain, all this suffering, and I'm going to step out of this shower, and I'm not going to be the same person. I'm going to take action. But what is the one thing I can do that can set some sort of discipline and structure in my life? I was like, all right, let me try this working out thing. And so I had, it was wet, soaked hair, and I was like, I'm going to start working out in my room. And ever since then, I've never looked back. So fitness was never just something to help me transform my body. It definitely did, but it was, I wanted new friends. I wanted to start my own business. I wanted to create community. And that's why I started sharing my journey on social media, because 4 weeks into it, I was like, wow, I feel so great. I've lost so much weight. I feel so high energy, and I need to share this with the world. I'm being selfish by keeping this to myself. And so throughout the last 3 years, I've just built up this community of amazing, empowered women that genuinely are like, hey, I learned from you, I know you, I trust you, and I want to be your friend. And I think that's what's really differentiated my brand from so many others is I cry a lot on my Instagram, and, I share the goods, the bads, and I offer value every single day. But going back to, our conversation about not feeling like you're interesting enough or what you should talk about, for me, I was just like, I don't really care. I'm going to talk about me, and I love learning, so I'm going to share every piece of information I learn and connect it back to my story. And since then, my best friends are all people I met from Instagram. I'm pretty positive that's how we connected too, right?
Yeah,
and then we met in person. So that's why I started the events, because I was like, cool, I have all these people on Instagram, but I don't really care about that. How can I meet these people in person?
In real life, yeah.
And that's when I started our first Sweat with ATL event, and it was a meetup just to connect a bunch of fitness people in Atlanta. And now I've expanded that across the US, and I've been doing these for 2.5 years.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's so crazy. And I feel like a lot of people, when they start a fitness journey or whatever, they make, at least it was the trend to make a new Instagram. There was their fitness Instagram, my Fitstagram, bro, follow my Fitstagram for workouts and blah, blah, blah. And then a lot of times, I think the reason why it doesn't ever click is, number one, they just don't stick with it.
Yeah.
And then number two, I don't know if they're leading with value first. I think they're just trying to show off their new sexy body. That's a lot of what it is.
That's the notion, because a lot of what you see on fitness Instagram is inspiration. But I think because we live in this world of filters and sexy bodies, people are craving authenticity and realness. And that's what I've just done this entire time. But I actually kept my profile a secret for 2 years.
Really?
Because I had that insecurity. I didn't want my friends to know about my profile.
Oh, so it was a brand, but you weren't promoting it to your friends.
I literally didn't tell anybody. I didn't have my face on my profile for a year.
Really?
So people were genuinely connecting with me because of me. And then a year later, I was like, okay, let me put my face in this, because I want to start...
Face reveal.
Yeah, the face reveal, my name reveal. Actually, I just revealed my name the other day.
Whoa.
So this tiny steps. But it's all because I was more about, I want people to be invested into me and what I'm actually offering. And then from there, go on to build a brand behind my name. So 1 year no face, 1 year with my face, and then the third year is when I made it public and told my friends about it. And that wasn't until my reach was at 50K, and I was like, okay, now if I tell my friends, they might not think it's just like Umama trying to show off. It's like legit. But at the end of the day, like once I told them, I was just like, I don't care. Like, I don't want you to follow me if this isn't like your thing. I have my own personal Instagram. That's where I share my life and like my friends, my old college days and stuff. But my fitness community is honestly where I'm truer to myself on there. So I think there's value in secrecy.
Yeah, because I'm trying to, I think we're going to talk a lot about Instagram just because like that's just
it's
a
my
thing.
life.
Exactly. No, but that was one thing that I did when I started the podcast was like I had my personal Instagram, and then I knew that I was going to launch so hard and so fast that I didn't want to turn like my friends off, because I was like, I don't care if you listen. Like I just want, so that's why I created like 2 separate Instagrams, and now I not regret it, but it's kind of annoying because I have like one Instagram that I'm posting like normal pictures to, like, oh, I go on vacation, here's this picture with my family or whatever, and then like here's my podcast Instagram where like every day I'm promoting like the new episodes and like making podcast trailers and putting on the stories and all that kind of stuff. So I'm kind of trying to ride that balance too, because I want to show the realness, the side of me that's like vulnerable and all that on my podcast Instagram. But at the same time, I'm like, do I try to share that on my personal one? Because that's like personal stuff. I don't know. I'm always like conflicted on what I'm trying to do.
Have you heard of the concept of a content cadence?
Content cadence, no. But I'm assuming it's like you have a like certain voice that you use for your content.
Yeah, something like that. It's more of like what your audience should always expect from you. When you're building a brand and not a business, you're actually showcasing all aspects of your life. So people aren't just coming to Andrew Deitch Podcast Instagram for just daily reveals of who's going on live. They want to know about who's the guy behind the brand. Like, I want to invest into you. So that's where I feel like Instagram Stories plays the best role, where it's like, hey, here's little clips of my life. Here's how I set up my equipment. That's a tutorial for you, right? People trust you for that. Number 2, hey guys, when I'm not podcasting, I love like sitting out here and, you know, watching high rises, or, you know, I love doing yoga.
I love watching a flag wave.
Like, yeah, I love random things, but people are naturally nosy people. They want to know about your life, but also remembering the key reason why people come to your platform. So making sure your content is catered to that, and based on the percentage of those people, let's say 50% of my people are coming to my platform because they want fitness inspiration, meaning workouts, transformation photos, whatever. I will make sure at least 2 to 3 days out of my content calendar week, I have posts dedicated to them. But also I have about 30% that are like, hey, I'm a girl boss. I don't really care to be a fitness model or a fitness Instagram. I just want to know how to do this and how to be a badass in real life. So then all my content, I have about 30% dedicated to them. And then the rest of the 20% is just me. People want to know about my life, who I'm hanging out with, and collaborations. That's a big part of what I do and why I'm known as the connector. So coming up with a content cadence for you is a matter of you listing out 5 to 6 things that you know your audience should expect from you, and then creating a cadence for that.
I like that. Because sometimes I'm kind of conflicted, like, oh, I'm just promoting all this new episodes, but then it's like, who cares? Because if they're subscribed to my podcast, they're gonna see it anyways.
Right.
So I don't know. It's definitely a hard balance, because you're trying to figure out, what do people actually want to see from you? What do people not give a shit about that you think they do, and all that? But okay, so let's go back for a second to your story, because it's really fascinating to me. So let's go back even farther before that. So you were out of college, right? Where'd you go to college?
Georgia State.
Georgia State. All right, very cool. Did you grow up in Atlanta?
Yes.
Very cool.
So actually right down the street in Brookhaven. Before
Very cool.
it was a thing.
And are your parents from here?
My parents are from Bangladesh. So that's definitely been one of the biggest struggles in my journey as an entrepreneur and with fitness. But
definitely. So I'm assuming they're really supportive of what you're doing now, or not really?
Oh no.
Really? Okay. So that's so crazy. So when you went to school, what were you going to school for?
Marketing.
Okay, so now you're doing that.
Yeah.
But why are they not supportive?
So, as far as like me as a person, they are very supportive. They've raised me as a leader, but they work so hard to come to America. And my dad is a banker, my mom's a teacher, which are very non-traditional jobs for Bengali people. So they were like, okay, cool, you have this marketing degree, you're such a big leader, go get a corporate job, be a badass, make a lot of money, and have benefits, and then go get married. And then I was like, I'm not about any of that. So I'm huge into like the startup world. I love technology. I love being challenged and starting things from the ground up. So when I started, my fitness journey was like my first hit at them. They were like, why are you dressing like this? Why are you trying to lose all this weight? And honestly, I just got so much negative feedback. Like I had some really mean things said to me. Like my extended family members would be like, you look ugly. You're turning into a prostitute. You are. Whoa. They're like, yeah, girls don't go to the gym. Are you becoming a lesbian? Like it was just like things that were just totally outside of their context. And I've learned that, okay, I have to take myself out of this environment if I'm going to succeed and truly find self-love. And through this journey, I have found that self-love. So I took the step to move out of the house, which was, in Bengali culture, that's a big deal for a girl to move out of the house before marriage. So really? My sister and I did that, but I knew I had to. Even if I was going to that would be a big expense, I was going to do it for my sanity. And because of that,
you got to do it.
So that's actually a big reason why I kept my profile a secret for so long, was because I didn't want my parents to find out. And Bengali people can be harsh. They're harsh because they really care. It's a very close-knit community. But it's been the one factor that's challenged me to always be my own cheerleader. I had to realize that, not everyone is going to understand what you do, what your passions are. But if you are so committed to you, your brand, who your ideal client is, and your community, then you're going to be fine. And, that's why YouTube, when I first put my first YouTube video on there, I literally got a call from my mom 2 hours later. She was like, I just saw your video. What are you doing to our family, our reputation?
How did you see it that quick?
I don't know. Apparently she watches cooking videos on YouTube, and my name got suggested on there. And it was, I actually
That's so funny.
Yeah, I was like, okay, well, I'm ready to take on this conversation. I'm not hiding my life anymore. I actually have a video. So this is
after you moved out, when you made that video?
Yeah. So I got off the phone with her and I made a video because I record all my high points and low points in life so that I can look back on those. And I watched it the other day because she literally went at me and was just like, you're a disgrace to our family. And my dad said the same thing to me, and I had to take it. I was like, hey, are you listening to what I'm saying? Or are you just looking at my body? They were like, I just don't get why you have to do it this way. We don't care what you're saying. You don't have to put your body out there.
They just thought that you were being inappropriate with what you were wearing, or what?
Yeah, that's it. They were like, why are you a prostitute? Why are you a model? That's not good. You're too smart for this. And I was like, are you listening or to seeing what I'm actually doing? And so I've learned to stop arguing and to have grace. Because grace is the thing that can really carry your relationship with people. Understanding that this just wasn't something that they grew up around. This career of being an entrepreneur, they were like, why? You could have a stable job and income and be married, and settle. But I took the hard route, and it's actually amazing. This past week, my dad approached me and he was like, so what do you do? And this was a big deal. And I was like, hey Dad, I'm actually building an app. I help connect the fitness community. And I went into detail about what my agency actually does. And he's like, okay, so you're an entrepreneur. It's like dots are finally clicking for him. And he goes, okay, but what if you fail? Do you have a backup? I was like, I'm a smart girl. I have connections. I won't fail. And if I do, it's never going to be failing because I'm always going to have an opportunity. He's like, okay, but do you have a backup? I'm like, I'm going to be okay. And he's like, okay, then I'm proud of you. Literally, this was like a big step in our relationship. And I finally felt free to go 100% in my business because I didn't have to hold back anymore or hide from anyone. So this is the first time I'm sharing this. So
That's
this
really
is
cool.
a big deal.
World exclusive.
Yes, for you guys.
That's really, really cool. I love that. So I mean, for someone who, my parents, like, same kind of deal when I decided to drop out of college. And this is for different reasons. It wasn't like starting the podcast or anything. But like at first, my dad was just like really, he wanted the best for me. And he thought that going to school was the best thing for me at the time. And so it just wasn't, it was always just those little remarks on the side, like, oh, maybe if you went back to school, you could blah, blah, blah. Or like, stuff like that.
Those little jabs.
Exactly. Microaggressions, dude. Oh, my dad is microaggressing me so hard. No, but
Yes.
yeah, no, but he's really supportive now. He listens to my podcast. What's up, Dad? Yeah, my parents are really cool, but I did not expect them to listen to the podcast. Maybe like a couple, but they've listened to like definitely more than half, which is kind of crazy.
Well, hey, Dad, what's up?
Hey, Mom and Dad. Thanks for being supportive. Yeah, that's really crazy that your parents, like, they couldn't see it because it was so different from what they were used to and all that. It's actually really interesting because I've had a lot of people on my podcast whose parents are immigrants, and that's so far removed from my experience because my parents are just like boring white people, I guess. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, they're really, really cool. But you just don't have that same mentality when you're, I don't know, like when you're an immigrant, you've come to the country because you are seeking like something better. And when your kid does something different than their vision for what that better thing that they moved here in the first place is, they feel like it was a waste or something. I feel like,
And that was exactly my dad's mindset. He's like, why are you trying to overcomplicate this? Like,
yeah, just go get a job. Like, this is why we moved here,
I'm just like, no, you guys raised me to be a leader. I don't understand why you are so confused why I'm so independent. But a lot of that, but once again, that's a key to connection, right? Vulnerability, sharing that, because so many people experience it in different ways. Maybe not acceptance from your parents, but maybe not being accepted by your friends. And I think that's another thing, right? Friends, like, how many of your friends have like genuinely been like, what are you doing? Like, is this your whole life? I don't get it. Are you just a podcaster? Like, and they just don't have any context to what goes behind all this, the passion and the work.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I get that, but it's like kind of still such a new thing that, like, I don't know. Everyone's been pretty supportive, but there have been people on Facebook where, like, I would say, I've made posts that I try to be slightly controversial because you get more comments and like more engagement. And if you just agree with everybody, it's not good. Anyways, like people don't care. They're like, yeah, I agree. Cool. But nothing happens. But if you post something that's like slightly a little bit controversial or like a little bit, there's no black and white answer, you're going to get like some engagement happening. And so one thing that I posted about was that the reason why I make really long podcasts and I like long podcasts, because some people are like, oh, cool, let's do a 20-minute podcast. I'm like, nah, let's just talk until like we say what we want to say.
Yeah. And
people listen. And I've had people comment like, well, I think it's too long for me. Like, I get bored after an hour, blah, blah, blah. And so I'm like, whatever. And those have been really the only kind of comments. I've gotten a couple comments that are like, really, like, you haven't had anyone interesting enough that I would care to listen to, so blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, whatever. I don't care about that. But pretty much everyone's been supportive, but I'm sure that there's a lot of people behind the scenes that are like, I don't know, blah, blah, blah. But I think it's all about perception too.
Exactly.
If you're putting out a high quality product, people are always going to perceive it's doing better than it really is,
And they don't need to know. Like,
exactly.
It's at the end of the day, it's value, right? Like,
exactly.
But so many people can hide behind those numbers, right?
But the cool thing about the podcast is like, they can't see the analytics of how many people are listening. So they're like assuming some people are assuming it's like 10 people listening. Some people are assuming it's like 1,000 or hundreds of thousands or whatever.
Yeah.
And it is like, it is significant. Like most episodes are getting like 1,000 downloads, which is pretty sick. But like some people I think are just envisioning it like this TV show or something where I'm getting like millions of
it
views.
is. Hello.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of which, there's some live people and they've commented a couple things. Jamie said, "What's your opinion on The Greatest Showman?" Have you seen The Greatest Showman?
I haven't. No,
I haven't seen it either. He asked that last time. It's a musical. I haven't seen it though. I'm sorry, Jamie.
Sorry.
And he said that he had an iPod growing up as well, which is
iPod. I didn't have an iPod. I think it was Zoom. Do you guys remember that?
a Zune.
Zune. Yes.
It was a Microsoft
Yes.
product.
I
It was a good product.
Oh
I'm just kidding.
God. Well, I got it for free.
Oh, that's
Or my
cool.
parents.
No wonder. I'm just kidding.
I know. It was one of those like piece of shits that like your parents wouldn't give you the nice thing, so they're like, "Here, we got this for free at work. You can have it and pretend."
Lindsay says, "Hi, Andrew." Hello, Lindsay. And Owen said, "Hey, dudes."
Hey,
so,
dude.
So if you are a dude, I don't know.
What's up, Owen?
And Steph is watching. Hi, Steph.
Hey, Steph. Shout out to Actively.
Yes. Actively go back and listen to episode 81, I think it was, with Stephanie. It was a really good podcast. But anyways, I was going to say something about Zunes. Zune was really funny because I remember specifically reading this like article about how there was this game called Wii Play for the Wii back in the day when the Zune was out, and Wii Play was like one of the highest bought games, like, but no one even cared about it. It was just because you got a free Wii remote with it. So and like normally the Wii remote was like $40 and the game was like $50, but you got a free Wii remote, so it made sense to buy it.
Wait, this is like the
Wii.
tennis and
The
stuff.
Wii, yeah.
Dude,
But-
I freaking loved Wii games.
Yeah. But Wii Play, it was like this other, it was kind of like Wii Sports, but it was like a little bit different where it was like fishing and like pool. But it was really dumb, but the reason why people bought it is because you got the free thing. And I remember reading this article and they were like, maybe Microsoft should offer a Wii game where you get a free Zune so they can move some more Zunes.
Oh,
And anyways, I just thought that was like hilarious when I was like 12 or whatever reading that. But anyways, okay, so let's go back for a second. So when you started your fitness journey, you decided to like make this Instagram, and you were doing like cardio at the beginning only, or like what were you doing?
So no, when I started the Instagram, it was for the program BBG, Bikini Body Guide. So it was a HIIT circuit training program. So it's like 28 minutes and you are sweating it out. It's really great for fat loss and like lean muscle mass. It was awesome. I did it for a year. I lost about 20 pounds in 12 weeks, gained some muscle, but really the best thing I gained from it was my friends. I have literally traveled the world with strangers from Instagram and have let them come stay with me in my home. The first group of friends I connected with were from New York. It was a group of 5 girls, and we had just like exchanged comments back and forth, and they were like, "Hey, we're gonna come to Atlanta." I was like, "Cool, you can stay with me." So I'm literally picking up 5 random strangers from the airport, and then they came, stayed with me for a week, helped me organize an event, and these are girls that I've had friendships with for now 2.5 years and traveled together, and they're my business partners, and
That's so sick.
it's awesome. And because of this platform I built, and I was so adamant about making sure I wasn't just on social media, I was all about creating real, authentic connections in person. So I actually traveled out I had a few hobbies. So every month I would travel out to a new city by myself. But I was never by myself because I was like, "Hey, I'm in the city, come hang out with me." Had random friends. And every week for the past 1.5 years now, I've been to a new gym and studio. So I've been to over, I think the number is 310 now.
310 gyms.
Gyms, yeah.
That's insane.
I mean, sometimes I hit up 2 in a day, so that's what the number accumulates pretty quickly.
Still.
But across the US and in Atlanta. And that was something I was just doing for myself.
So you know all the tricks to get guest passes?
all
Or
of
like,
them.
I was going to say, so how do you do that? Because, I mean, I feel like most of the time they're like, "Okay, we'll let you in today," but like the next day, like, nah.
Yeah, I just weaseled my way in. Lots of places offer first class free. I have paid for a few, like obviously Gold's Gym Mecca, they don't care if you're a big deal, like you're gonna pay that $20. But the key to connection is finding the people that work there that are like, "Oh yeah, you can use my guest pass for free." So that's why, Instagram is literally the best thing that's ever happened to me because I am a master of sliding into the DM. I connect with anyone and I make sure I don't reach out to like people that are like leading these marketing accounts. I reach out directly to the CEOs, the managers, the presidents, and get them to love me, that get me access to all these events and to gyms and studios, and creating those connections that have allowed me to create this marketing agency.
That's sick. And I feel like a lot of people that want to create like this following, they don't think about having to sit down and like DM people for like hours or whatever. Like I know yesterday you posted a story where you were answering like 100 and something DMs, like 145 DMs. So that's the stuff that people don't see. Like Gary Vaynerchuk, I talk about him all the time on this podcast. So if you listen and you don't know who Gary Vaynerchuk is, you're living under a rock. But
that's my man.
Yeah, he's the man. I love Gary V. I've been an OG fan for a while, but he always talks about like on his way to things, he'll jump into Snapchat and like reply to people that send him snaps, like, and that means the world to people. So like, but that takes actual time, commitment, effort to like sit down and make it a point to like go and do that. So
Absolutely.
How do you manage that? Because when you have a following, you have 110,000 followers right now on Instagram. But a lot of people now, I feel like you look at numbers like that, you're like, well, probably like half of them are fake or whatever. But then I look at your page and I'm like, no, this chick has insane engagement. She's always like talking to people. She has real friends and people that are collaborating with her and all this. So I feel like your page is, it just stands out because it doesn't feel forced or fake. It seems natural. So how do you balance like having that sit down time where you have to like DM a bunch of people and stuff? Not have to, you want to.
And it's because of that. It's because I want to, right? These are people that have genuinely become my friends, and they're asking me questions that I wish I had answered for me at the beginning. So, last year, this time when I went full-time with my agency and working for myself, I was 100% committed to it because I was like, this is the only way I'm going to grow my business too. I'm not selling to these people, but I'm developing my authenticity and brand around this. But it became very time consuming. So I learned the power of outsourcing. I hired on a team that would be able to handle things that didn't directly relate to me having to be involved in that aspect of the business. And, Gary talks about this all the time, right? Like invest in your strengths and for your weaknesses, outsource. And so that's what I did. But content and replying to people and engaging, that is 100%, that is dead. Depends on me.
Yeah, it's on you for sure.
So I commit to it.
People don't DM you and want to talk to your assistant. They want to talk to you.
Exactly. And I wouldn't want someone to do that to me. I respect people too much, but I do have to schedule out time at this point. And I literally have on my calendar 1 hour engagement because that's the whole philosophy behind my growth. I never paid for followers. I never had to like, hey, give me a shout out for shout out bullshit. Like I did this 100% because I talk to people, and I've learned ways to make it easier where it's like, I realize I hate typing. Like I cannot write copy. I hate writing captions. I talk in bullet points, and Instagram stories made it easy for me to just get on camera and talk. And then replying to DMs, like sometimes even typing DM responses take a while. So I was like, these people trust me. I'm just going to send them a video reply, which is so much better because think about if you got a response from Gary in a video versus text, then you actually believe it's him replying back to you, giving his knowledge versus a copy paste template that you could send to anybody.
And that's the type of stuff that like people, they want to glamorize like this social media fame. I want to be an influencer and travel the world and just be sponsored by brands. But there's actual work involved for sure.
Yeah.
Like one thing that I've talked about this on the podcast before, but when Snapchat was like first starting to blow up, I was like, Gary Vee was talking about it. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go all in on Snapchat. And he was saying like, there's no really way to like get discovered. So you have to like go and add people. Like that's just how you have to do it. Cause unless you're putting the only way you could get people to add you on Snapchat was to post your like snap code on other platforms. Yeah. So I would go in like literally every day and manually add like 50, 100 people like typing in their names. And that took time. But then eventually it became a thing where everyone was like, holy crap, Andrew's like Snapchat famous. And I'm like, I just like added 1 million people and then
But
they
that's
just
the
started
work.
following me. Yeah. And like so many people are like, I'm like, how did I even get connected with you on Snapchat? And they're like, you added me like 2 years ago. And I'm like, I don't know, but sure. Yeah.
Hey, they stayed for the journey, right? They
For
could
sure.
have unfollowed.
Oh, for sure. And I've had, this is another crazy thing. I don't think I've shared this on the podcast before. So I was watching Skrillex's Snapchat one time, and this guy in the crowd had a sign that said, add me on Snapchat. And his name was Wonka. It was Wunka, Wonka. And I thought that was funny. So I added him, of course, because I just like added everyone.
Yeah.
And then this guy, Wonka, he lived in like Brazil or something. He followed me back. And so whatever. And I don't think we ever like talked. But then I was at a music festival in Florida, and I saw the guy with the sign, add me on Snapchat,
Again?
Wonka, again, and I walked up to him, and he knew who I was.
That's so
And he was like, oh my God, blah, blah, blah. Because I was going to tell him that I was like, I know who you are, and he knew me. As soon as I walked up to him, he knew me.
I love that.
It was so crazy, and it was totally what you're saying. Like, internet friends are like real friends.
Real friends.
As long
'Cause
as-
they're
yeah.
more involved in your life than your like real friends in real life, right?
Yeah. It's
They
true.
know everything. That's smart marketing, by the way. Any kind of free marketing tools like that, I'm 100% behind that. I actually just invested in my first Facebook or Instagram ad the other day.
Wow.
But I probably
That's
do
crazy.
better with just my engagement marketing algorithm than I do with that. But it's event marketing exposure, right? That's why I host all these events too. It's like, I know people will leave with an experience, and then you give them a hashtag, you give them your name, they post pictures from the event, bam, you just got 50 free ad revenue sources.
Yep, exactly. And that's totally true, but people don't want to put in the time and the effort. They'd rather just pay $15 or $50 or whatever to boost their posts that no one gives a shit about, and no one's going to click the little button because everyone scrolls right past the
Right,
sponsored
you see
shit.
sponsored and you're like, bye.
Exactly. So, yeah, I love that so you literally did no paid engagement at all ever until like very
literally
recently.
last month was the first time, and it was because I did a event with Nike, and I wanted to make sure everyone knew I did an event with Nike.
Humble brag, just like,
Just a
what's up, Nike?
Yeah, just saying. But you know,
That's
honestly,
awesome.
I'm going to be honest. It didn't do that well. But I think
The-
it's also the video, the promotion. But it's also because you have to understand how videos work on Instagram. The first 3 seconds are crucial. It has to have you in it, and it has to have something super engaging. And the cover photo has to be like a what the fuck, like I want to click on this kind of thing. And my video producers, they're freaking amazing. Their work is high quality, but teaching someone how to do Instagram work requires them to know first 3 seconds, it's got to be about the person.
Yep. And another thing that a lot, like in the beginning we were talking about people reaching out to me to make edited stories is because at the time when I first started making them and Ryan taught me how to make them, Ryan was already killing it on YouTube. He's a style YouTuber and he was teaching men's fashion. That's literally that's not his channel. There's another channel called Teaching Men's Fashion, but his channel was, oh my God, Ryan, don't kill me. I can't remember the name of his channel, but Ryan McGinn, it doesn't matter now. But now he teaches a lot of like marketing and all this stuff because he realized that was what people were really following him for. They're like, cool, like take your style advice, but like how many times are you going to show me like 10 outfits that I want to make a girl go out with me or whatever.
Yeah.
So anyways, Ryan taught me how to make stories and people were reaching out to me because they're like, okay, this guy knows how to make stories that are like for Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what a lot of traditional video people don't realize is like, okay, you're shooting in landscape. It's not going to perform as well on Instagram because it's only taking up a little chunk of the screen. Whereas if you're shooting in portrait, you're going to take up a big old chunk of the screen. And that's why like at like the Actively event, I was turning my camera sideways to shoot in vertical and it's weird and it's awkward and you can't use a gimbal because like gimbals don't work like that and all this kind of weird stuff.
Actually, I didn't even
you know
think
what I
about
mean?
that.
Because like if you're using a gimbal, it's going to stabilize it for horizontal.
Yeah.
There's no gimbals that use portrait unless you have a DJI Osmo Mobile. They let you shoot on your phone in portrait, but that's like the only gimbal that will really let you do that right now. Unless you like use a special adapter or something crazy. I don't have it anyways. But yeah, you got to like work around the system until that becomes the mainstream, and then by that time something else is going to be the mainstream and you're going to have to figure out something else. So
I know.
anyways,
But I don't think
rant.
Instagram stories aren't going anywhere, guys. Like Snapchat maybe, sorry guys, you You got some
I
work
know,
to do.
my
but
Snap
I
fam.
know.
I'm so sorry.
I haven't gotten on Snapchat in like 3 months.
When I get on Snapchat, it's to be extremely goofy.
Yeah.
And I realized back in the day when I was doing a lot of Snapchat stuff, I was going to tons of music festivals around the world, so people were following me for that.
Mm-hmm.
So I realized that if I'm talking about like EDM and like music festivals, Snapchat is my audience, but
Yeah.
if I'm talking about other stuff, like, nah.
Well, I think that's what you need to know, what your audience comes to each platform for. Like for me, Instagram, obviously home base. Snapchat was my place of like super authenticity, realness. I'm sharing my food. I'm sharing like my crying. I'm sharing boyfriend stories. But then YouTube is where people are going more for my vlogs. Now I just really started it. Vlogging and workshop style learning, extended learn.
Yeah, and I think my friend Austin Distel, who I'm actually doing a podcast with later today.
Oh my God,
back to back. And I think we're gonna do back-to-back lives too. So if you're watching the live stream, you can just don't go away. Take a little potty break.
Just a little break.
No, but what was I saying? Yeah, Austin, he said, I'm really doubling down on stories because I reached out to him. I'm like, dude, your stories are killing it right now, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, yeah, I'm really doubling down on stories because I think a lot of people were very hesitant because they're like, I don't want to invest tons of money into making these stories because they're going to go away.
Now we got
but
features.
we got the Instagram highlights. So you can actually keep stuff on your profile and it's like straight up genius. I don't know why Snapchat never incorporated that. I think if they would have incorporated something like that, they would have stuck around a lot longer.
Did they revert back to the format
layout?
of the list? Yeah.
No, they doubled down on their new list format, which really sucks because I was watching a Twitch stream with Sean Duras, who is like a really famous Snapchatter. I think he was the biggest Snapchatter at one point, and he said that one thing that really pissed him off about that was before he would reach out, just like you, he would reach out and talk to fans, engage them in the stories. They would send him drawings, he would feature them in his stories, all this kind of stuff. And now with the new update, it separates influencers into this other category of like paid traffic almost. Yeah. And so he's like, I don't like that I'm not in their friends list anymore. Now I'm like separated into this like gross, like Discover area with like MTV and like Cosmo and shit. Yeah. He's like,
It takes away from that like companion aspect of all of
and
it.
It sucks because I was a huge Snapchat fanboy from the beginning. Yeah. I dove super deep into Snapchat. I have the freaking Snapchat glasses that have the camera in them. Those, yeah. I have a Snapchat beach towel. I have a Snapchat plush toy.
True fan right here.
I am and another thing that I did that was a total hack. I printed my Snap code out on stickers and would put them everywhere I travel.
Smart.
So I have friends on Snapchat from literally all over the world because I would put them in airports and people would scan it and add me when they were traveling. So literally there's people that follow me from all over the world and it sucks because Snapchat is dying and like I'm gonna lose them.
Damn it, Evan, fix
I gotta transfer them over.
Evan Spiegel, this is a message to you.
Evan
we want
Spiegel,
you.
I know you're watching right now. And because I know you creep on Facebook Lives.
Yes.
But anyways, that was my Snapchat rant.
But the greatest lesson from that was learning that your users are the number one people you have to keep happy. And if you are not keeping them in mind, you're not going to do well. That's why Instagram, so one of the algorithm updates that just recently came out, they're actually switching back to somewhat of a chronological feed, not OG where it was like every minute kind of thing, but based on who you love, it'll bring up a chronological order post. So they heard the concerns and they are making those changes. But at the end of the day, you guys have to remember, like, these are social platforms that are businesses. They are going to put businesses, ad revenue at the top of their list, and then, but still making sure the user gets their experience. And the algorithm is made for everyday people, not for people that are influencers or trying to create a brand.
Exactly. And I don't know. I wasn't keeping up on the algorithm stuff because a lot of times I feel like a lot of that, like, oh, little growth hack, blah, blah, blah for Instagram. I'm always just like, I'm just going to post what I want to post. It seems to be working. But then like stuff was starting to tank when they changed their algorithm and I hadn't really heard the whole hullabaloo that everyone is freaking out about the algorithm changing. So for people listening that don't really know, like Instagram was changing their algorithm so it was like heavily weighting like more real people and posts that got more comments because they were like, okay, like if you're actually showing that you have tons of comments, that's real people engaging with your content. If it's not bot comments, if it's not spam comments, all that kind of stuff. And then like I also heard that posting like big blocks of hashtags, they don't like that as much anymore. And like all this kind of stuff that like used to be like quote unquote growth hacks, Instagram has realized that they're trying to kind of clean up the platform and make it more about real stuff, because they don't really need any more users now. They're not trying to attract more people to the platform. They're trying to prove to their sponsors, that people and investors, that these are real people who are engaging with their fans and all that kind of stuff. So I feel like, I think you made a post about this, that the algorithm change for you only helped you more.
So much more.
And because you're not fake. Exactly. And you don't have fake followers, you don't need fake likes, you're not like paying anybody. Like these are real people that love your shit, and every time they see your stories, they click on it. So you just pop up at the top every time.
And here's the number one hack. No matter how many algorithm changes there'll be, think like a human. People don't get the simple concept. No one wants to talk to you if you don't talk to them. And especially with fitness content, it's one of those things you just like scroll and absorb. You don't necessarily want to comment, even if you watch the entire thing. Like,
what are you gonna say?
Like, oh, cool video. Like, I don't care. I'm just a normal person.
Sweet thighs.
Like, and it's unless you are really their friend, or you are asking them a question or delivering that much value that they feel like they need to say thank you. Like, no one's gonna do that. And that comes with content too. Like, if you are posting a picture of your ass every single day, then you are ass girl, and that's the only value that you offer. And
exactly.
Your audience will come back for that because that's all they have. But will they engage with you? And you're gonna sit there and complain on Instagram, damn, like, all my Instagram is screwing me over. Like, no one's engaging. You guys aren't liking my posts. I'm like, when was the last time you talked to one of these people that are supposed to be liking your posts? So I have a hard time having grace for those situations, but I've learned it's because they were raised in this Instagram culture of all I need to do is show up. Mm-hmm. But now this is why I have so much appreciation for what Instagram's doing. I love the algorithm.
Yeah.
It challenges me to deepen my connections. I don't care. I actually lost 5,000 followers in the last, let's say like 5-6 months. But because of that, my engagement has gone up. I'm creating more business opportunities. I'm deepening my connection, which is what I wanted, versus like trying to expand. Because expanding, first of all, the algorithm doesn't want that. Like, you guys don't realize, like, you guys are all about like, I need more followers, I need more fake comments, whatever. Like, that actually diminishes your brand and diminishes your opportunity to be found by real people.
Totally.
So it's really just, if what you're looking for is just a ego boost, cool, but I don't really know how long-term that's gonna work out for you.
Yeah, two things on that. Number one, in the beginning when I started my podcast Instagram, one of my friends reached out to me, and he runs a couple of like pretty big Instagram pages, but a lot of them are kind of like curated content. Like, one of them is like a skateboarding channel where he posts like a lot of skateboarding videos and all this stuff, and he's just like curating content and blah, blah, blah. But one thing that he uses is he does use like follow, unfollow bots and liking bots and all this stuff. So he reached out to me. He's like, hey man, if you help me with my branding stuff, I'll put one of my like bots on your thing. And I was kind of like, okay, sure. Like, whatever. It's like a barter thing. Fine. Like, I'll see how this works. And I was like getting followers and stuff. And I'm like, okay, this is cool, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And like, it seemed to be working because I would engage with the people that did follow me back.
That's the thing. If you can do that, fine, that might work.
Yeah, but the thing that happened was that I was realizing was Instagram, I think, started realizing that a lot of my followers were like, not fake, but it was like a lot of bot followers, using like a big blocks of hashtags, getting a bunch of like spammy comments and stuff. That in the beginning, it was a lot of my friends that were excited about me launching this thing. And then towards the end, not the end, but like a few months ago when I took the bot off, it was like really just I wasn't engaging with real people. Mm-hmm. And I was coming to expect the likes and the comments to come, and they weren't coming. And I'm like, why is this not working? And then I realized like, oh, I'm not engaging with anybody in these threads. Like, I'm not asking any questions. I'm not like, what are they going to say? Like, cool, just gonna go check out the new episode.
Yeah.
Like, what are they gonna say? So you're totally right. And then the other thing I was gonna say, I don't remember. So anyways. No.
Okay. But
But I remember there was something else I was going to say. I just didn't remember what it was.
But I want anyone that has invested into bots in the past or have gotten bought in followers or likes, it's okay. Hopefully Instagram will have mercy on you. A lot of profiles did get shut down because of it. So congratulations on making it past that point at least.
Right.
So, but at the end of the day,
real.
you can be real about it and then engage. At the end of the day, you still have people that are considered your followers, but convert them into friends now, convert them into fans. And you're going to do that by authentically reaching out to them, asking them questions in your content, tagging them, making them feel like, hey, I thought this would be relevant to you. And I've personally developed an algorithm that allows me to reach out to exactly who I need to talk to that the content reaches out to. But a simple version of it is Gary V's $1.20, I think, concept, or $2.10. And he said, put your 2 cents into 10 people. Okay, so basically, go onto 10 people's profiles and give them a heartfelt comment where it's like, I read your story. Here's my advice. Connect with this person. Do this. That is the easiest hack to an engagement strategy. But people are lazy. They won't do that. So I have no mercy on those people because you can complain about the algorithm, but if you can't do that where you talk to 10 people, 10,
Yeah.
you're done.
You're so right. It's only 10 people a day, but people are lazy and they don't want to do it. I remember what I was going to say is the thing that you were talking about with like ass girl on Instagram. Like we all know an ass girl on Instagram that just posts pictures of her ass.
And I'm sure
or
they have a
boob
great
girl
ass,
or whatever.
whatever.
You know, and you're totally right. Like when they go to the profile, what do you expect? You expect to see a picture of their butt. Like that's cool and all, but at the end of the day, how is that like bringing value? Cool, yeah, like great, some people are enjoying this picture.
Yeah.
But I like how on your channel it's like a fitness page, which a lot of people I think are just a little bit too thirsty on their fitness kind of pages. Mm-hmm. But the thing that on your page, like the first thing is like, hello sassy women. That's like the first thing that's on there. So like if there's guys going on there for a thirst trap, they're like, oh, this is a, wait, what is going on? Because a lot of them,
female empowerment girl.
This is a female empowerment chick. I'm so confused. What is going on? And then like watching your stories and like talking about nap hacks and stuff. I'm like, what?
Oh,
so,
my God.
But it's great. Like I love watching your stories, even though I'm not a girl. Like I like watching your stuff because there's always helpful stuff in there. But the thing is I think for a lot of like I said, fitness like Instagrams, it turns into just a giant thirst trap where it's not really. You're not bringing any value except for like pictures of your beautiful body.
Exactly. But, you know, there's a demand for that. And with demand comes people. So I'm not knocking their hustle. Like they still have to do a lot to maintain their body that way, to capture those shots. They invest in money.
Totally.
So girl, do you, but don't complain about you having to pivot your brand to something else and not being that person. But it's so funny you mentioned that about you being a male and not necessarily associating with all my content, but still finding value. A lot of guys actually initially come to my page thinking it's a thirst trap, and then they'll listen to my my videos. So I do voiceovers on all my videos, and they're like, oh wow, this girl's actually like smart. She actually has like good stuff to say. And one of my best friends now, Tyler, he actually was looking through all my videos and he was like, I don't get it. What does this girl sell? Like, and people get confused. They're like, what are you? Like, what do you do full time?
Right.
And so he finally just approached me at the gym. He's like, hey, you're small and strong, right? Once again, doesn't know my name because my name's not on there. And I was like, yeah. He's like, yeah, I just watched your story on relationships and how you just went through your breakup. And, you know, I went through a similar thing. So it was so great to hear your perspective. I know this isn't necessarily for guys, but I actually get a lot of value from what you say. And since then, we've been able to develop a really awesome friendship. And 18% of my audience is male, and I actually do get a lot of engagement with the male audience, but they're the ones that are leaving like great comments, that are like showing up to my events, sharing. They're my best marketers. They're the ones that send it to their girlfriends, and they're like, hey, there's like real content that you can learn from on this page. Yeah. So shout out to you boys that like.
I was showing Kat your shit like the other day. I was like, yo, check out this girl's page, blah, 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 blah.
Thank you.
Like, it's true because I think in a sea of Instagram thoughts. Like, you know what I mean? Like it just is like, there's just like a sea of like all the same content, all kind of thirst trap stuff. And I think that's probably why your parents, when they saw your content in the first place, they saw it as that, and they assumed like, you know, but you're not a lesbian prostitute, and you definitely have evolved into something amazing, which is really, really cool. So, okay, so now that I feel like we've talked about Instagram a ton, but what are you doing now? Because obviously building up an Instagram following, you know, like you said, people come to your page and like, what do you even do to make money? Because there's no link in bio to buy anything. Like, are you a personal trainer? Like, what do you do? So like, how do you take your following on Instagram once you built that and turn it into something that like actually makes you money?
And that's so important to realize. It's building a brand that can pivot, and then you become so good at creating connections that all you're doing is making recommendations. So you guys probably don't realize I have an Under Armour contract, but those shoes, I'm just popping it into my workouts, so people are naturally like, oh cool, these are awesome shoes. You know what? How do these shoes work with different workouts? So that's just like one aspect of what I do. But number one was just showcasing I know how to build a brand. I know how to build businesses on Instagram. And so that's what I created with my marketing agency, SAS Brands. So we do social media and event management for health and fitness brands. So all these supplement companies reached out to me, not because they were like, we want to sponsor you. They're like, no, hey, can you manage our account and build our brand for us? That's where the real business is. I was never thinking short term of I want like to work with all these companies, get all these free things. I knew that wasn't long term. And
because you don't like do any sponsored posts on your feed at all. And that's pretty much what every other fitness like influencer, blah, 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 whatever. That's a dirty word for some people. But like Fit Bunny Tea and like all this like stupid shit. Like, but you've never done any of that.
No, I've never done that. But I do have a campaign coming up once again with Under Armour. But I was
That's a legit brand though. That's cool.
But exactly. I've worked with Under Armour, Lululemon, Nike, all these brands because I wasn't I can't think of another word, whoring myself out on Instagram to all these brands. So what I've done was built up this portfolio, and that's all my Instagram is. It's to create trust and community, showing people I know how to engage, showing people that, hey, I know how to drive people from Instagram to a real life event, pack out an event with 150 people on Super Bowl Sunday. Like, people were like, what in the world? This girl is so legit. And that's why brands, I'm not going for these $500, $800 monthly, like, shout outs. I'm going for $4,000, $10,000 deals with monthly deals with brands and that want me to genuinely build a business. And this goes back to Gary Vee too. Like, you know, he was Twitter boy that tried to start an agency. Yeah, I'm the fitness Instagrammer that started an agency because I believe in truly using my background and my passion to do something bigger. But my main passion is in event marketing, which is really connecting people. Because like I said, that's what I do and I genuinely love. So I'm transitioning more now into the tech industry, which a lot of people don't associate me with, but it's okay. I like secrecy. The people that need to know.
This is like the face reveal.
Yes,
this is like the new the tech reveal.
The tech. I work at an ATV. Like I own a legit business with like 3 team members and everything. But it's building out a tech platform that's streamlining social media, event management, and connection. So I'm creating these key partnerships like Steph, like with Actively. It's already doing what I do, but creating a platform to really launch that nationwide with my audience and getting even more people involved and connecting.
Exactly. I love that. Yeah, and that's kind of what this podcast does too. I connect people, and that's actually, so I launched on my birthday a year ago almost. And for my birthday this year, I'm going to be hitting 100 episodes, like basically by my birthday. So I want to have like an actual birthday party / 100 episode event where I
there.
get like everybody who's been on my podcast to come, everybody that can. There's people out of town, there's people out of the country, people, you know, whatever. But get everybody there, get all these awesome people that I've talked to in real life to meet up, hang out, blah, blah, blah. So
shoot me a calendar invite. I'm
definitely,
totally down.
definitely. I also need suggestions and help on like what I need to do, because I don't.
Well, event master,
I was gonna say, I literally, because I have a Facebook group for all the people that have been on my podcast, and I just posted a thing about it yesterday. So I'm like just starting to make things.
Number one comes down to venue. Once you lock that down, you're set.
Exactly.
Okay, actually, Andrew, this is the most like amazing venue we're recording in right now. If you guys have something here, that would be so legit.
Yeah, the Kat mentioned that, like the place down there, but they'll shut us down at like 10 p.m.
Stop.
They're really lame.
Oh,
They
no.
don't.
Do they have like an event hall or like a clubhouse? Yeah, so if you could
But
rent
it closes at like 10 or 11.
What in the world?
They don't really like having a lot of like, because we did this big entrepreneur meetup and they kind of got mad. How many people showed up for that? Like 100?
Way more people showed up than they allowed us to.
Oh.
They kind of looked the other way and didn't care.
Yeah.
But also, it closes at 10, so we needed to be out and cleaned by 10.
Lame.
What? The party starts at like 10.
Exactly. Exactly. So we'll figure this all out. We'll figure this all out.
Well, we have a bunch of connections with venues, so
Very
shout
cool.
out to us.
Yes.
We got you.
Yes, for sure. Okay, cool. So I was going to say, like, as far as making those real events too, that's where people make real connections, real friends, because a lot of times people they have a hard time making the jump from we met online to meeting in real life.
I love this conversation.
Because like, especially because in the early days of the internet, everyone's afraid of like, oh, well, if I meet up with this guy, he might kidnap me. Or like, if I meet up with this person, they might actually be like a serial killer or whatever. Like, that's what people think. But once you form that real relationship, and once you have that social proof of like, okay, this chick has a lot of followers, like this chick has real engagement with real people, there's probably like a 0.05% chance that she's an actual serial killer.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited to meet up with her in real life.
Yes.
But if you're like a person that has like no online presence, you have like a blank profile picture, you post like boring ass pictures that get like 2 likes.
I'm gonna die.
Yeah, you think that person is straight up trying to kill you. So like, what is the key to making those internet friends? I mean, we've been talking about a lot of this stuff that is the key, but like, what do you think makes it so people have that click where they're excited to meet this new internet friend versus like kind of intimidated?
I love this question. It comes down to being real and making sure that your content is always talking to exactly who your friend is. So the only people watching are people that are like, hey, I want to hang out with this girl. And then making sure you actually talk to them, saying like, hey girl, like, are you totally down for this event? Like talking like a real person, not like a robot, and sending video messages, showcasing your daily life. So it just feels like they're already part of your life. Like, most of the people I meet in real life, they're like, whoa, you're just like you are online. I'm like, that's how it's supposed to be. But it's creating that trust online. But I think it comes with just like body language and your verbiage, making sure it's like you're not weird.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, so
right?
true.
Like,
some people don't know how to not be weird, but
and that's okay. Well, so here's my like newest, but that's so real. Like we are teaching people how to have new social interactions, because now a lot of us are connecting on Tinder, on Bumble, on Hinge, whatever it is.
actively.
But what Actively does so great that none of these other platforms do is they're actually bringing their users in real life and connecting them through the app, so that when they leave an event, they know that, hey, there was that guy at that event maybe, so I know he has the Actively app downloaded on his phone. Let me just like swipe through until I see him, right? So that's what the Actively app is so great at. It's a social connection tool that creates that trust, because you were like, hey, we both have that common interest in yoga. So fitness is one of the best barriers of entry to conversation, because we're all active in some way, whether it's like, hey, I love to lift weights, or hey, I just like go walking in the park. Like, you write that on your profile and you guys talk, and instead of having that breakthrough in conversation where you're like, oh yeah, what do we talk about? Talk about some sort of fitness thing, and then plan a fitness meetup or go to an event together. And that solves that problem for human connection, right?
Totally. And I think especially guys are kind of intimidated by that a little bit because guys are like, I don't need anybody. I'm just going to go lift some heavy weight and blah, 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 you know. But when I have an accountability partner, when I work out with somebody, like that's when I have the best workouts. Like earlier this week, worked out with my friend Richard. I'm like still sore. It's one of the best workouts I've had in so long. And then I went to yoga the next day and did a million like up dog, down dog things. And we worked out shoulders and tris. So I was like dead. I'm still super sore. But anyways, point being that when I worked out with Richard, I had a way better workout than if I would have just worked out by myself.
Absolutely.
Because also Richard is a badass.
Well, Richard's a badass.
And he was on my podcast,
but
episode
also,
47.
like, think about what conversations happen when you're working out. It's not all just about fitness. You actually learn someone's work ethic while they're working out, right?
Totally
like
true.
maybe it's someone that is simply a socializer, but maybe you're a socializer too. So you share stories during the entire workout versus two people that are super like, hey, we're swole mates. We're here to like, you know, be each other's spotter. And then afterwards you're like, damn, that was a great workout. Let's go grab lunch and actually talk about life. So fitness is one of those things that really shows someone's character and work ethic. And that's the key to connection to talking about other things.
Very, very true. Yeah, and another thing that I think happens when you're working out as well is you form like a connection, especially if you're like spotting someone, you're like trusting them. So you like form a real relationship, which is dope. And obviously like, if you're not trying to form relationships, then whatever. Like some people, I've seen people on Facebook saying like, I have too many friends or like something weird. Like, get the hell out of here. I'm like, nah, dude, I'm trying to connect with as many people as I can, genuinely. Because the more connections you have, the more opportunities there are. And you are a definite testament to that. Because like you said with your dad, like I don't really, like yes, my backup plan, whatever, but I have so many connections and so many cool people that like know me, trust me, all that, like that I'm getting people coming to me asking me to work for them and I'm having to like turn them down. So like there's backup plans that like I haven't even accepted. You know what I mean? Yeah, and that's,
Just understanding the different mentality with it. But yeah, connection, that's what people I wish would realize that they could leverage social media for. Opportunity. If you do it the right way, you won't ever have to worry about having a place to stay when you go to a random new city, like, or never feeling like you're alone because you have so much connection. But it's not just being online and being on your phone, it's making sure you actually make moves. So that's why sliding in the DM, it sounds funny, but it is an actual business strategy, guys. Like 10 DMs a day. If you are just starting out, you need to make friends. So go out and talk to 10 people on their profile, but then 10 people you want to mentor above you, or 10 people you want mentored beside you that are in the same stage as you, and 10 people below you that want to learn from you. If you give to the world, I promise the universe and Instagram gods will deliver to you.
I love that.
That is what has happened to me. I've literally like met my best friends through there. I've met my business partners through there. And I've done some dating through Instagram. I actually had a very interesting DM the other day from a guy that was like, check yes or no. This is my qualifications. Would you like to... Anyways.
That's amazing.
But I
had a person on my podcast that scored a date from the podcast because a girl listened to the podcast and she reached out to him. She slid in his DMs.
Look at this, Andrew. You are the love matchmaker here.
Yes. No one's reached out to me. I'm just kidding.
Andrew's single, guys. Are you? I don't know. Sorry, I just put that. Okay.
I am single. I think I talked about this like on a recent podcast. People are like, "Are you trying to date?" I'm like, "I've got like so much shit right now." I'm like on dating apps and stuff where I'll like look through. I'm like window shopping, but I'm not buying. You know what I mean?
I totally. Wait, have you used Hinge?
Yes, Hinge is cool because it makes you like actually reach out to the person. Like, because if you don't send the message and you just like the picture, it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
I feel like you have to respond. So Hinge is cool because I feel like on Tinder and Bumble, you just like swipe right, like all day. But like Hinge, you kind of have to like pick out something to like, and you have to like look a little bit deeper, and you're like, okay, am I actually gonna talk to this person if we match? Probably not. Okay, I'm just gonna like not.
But it gives you all the information you really need to know about a person off the bat. It's where they live, how tall they are, how old they are.
The tall thing is real.
The tall thing is, I didn't realize it was a big deal at first.
But for guys, like I feel like, okay, if you look on there and you're like, oh, this girl's cute, and then you're like, oh, she's 6'4". Can't do that. I'm sorry. Like you're really cute, but like can't do that. I'm sorry.
But it's having that conversation from the start, or seeing that before you get in person and realize, oh shit, this isn't gonna work, and then time is not wasted. Anyways, but I love the interface of it. I've worked with Hinge for a little bit too.
Really?
So like I'm very open on my social platforms. So I think a couple months ago, I screenshotted a Hinge request. One of my questions, actually, I'll ask you, is one of the questions I put on there is, what do you put in the bowl first, milk or cereal? Go.
You put cereal first.
Okay.
Do you put milk first?
Yes.
Are you a psycho?
All right.
What?
Well, that's typically the response I get from boys. But
no.
Think about it. It's the one conversation piece almost every guy will answer. They're like, whoa, like, of course I put cereal first. Are you a psycho? Or
no, like literally, are you a psycho?
Yeah, I know. But then some people are like, wow, you must have an interesting mindset. I'd like to hear more about this. So it's a key to connection, right?
That's totally true.
And then I posted it on my Instagram story, and the Hinge saw it, and they're like, oh, cool, we'll give you a free month of like unlimited.
Premium Hinge.
Yeah, I was like,
you can like as many dudes as you want.
And that was the month that like I didn't use it at all, but it's still a cool platform. I'm definitely a huge advocate for meeting friends online and using apps for it. So
you know what? I think I've mentioned this one time on the podcast, but this was a hack for Snapchat. So on Snapchat, remember how I was just adding random people?
Yeah.
How do you find their usernames? So one hack that I would do is Android Life over here, you can download an app that would spoof your GPS location. So you could fake that you were in a different place.
Yeah.
So then I would fake that I was in a different place. On Tinder, you have to pay for this, but I downloaded this app on Android. iPhone won't let you do this, where I would spoof my GPS location, open up Tinder, and then I was basically swiping in other cities. So then I would just add people from other cities around the world, because I'm like, I want to make connections in Arizona. So then I would open up Tinder in Arizona, start swiping, add people, and then what do you know? Made some connections in Arizona. And I wasn't messaging these girls on Snapchat like, hey, baby, whatever. I would just add them and not say anything and wait for them to start watching my stories. And then they would reach out to me like, how did you find me? Blah, blah, blah. Your stories are cool. Like, it would just happen that way. And so you're so right. Like, once you like create stuff, people are like, oh, I want to hang out with this chick. Like, it's not like you're trying to beg them to like, hey, will you hang out with me in real life? Like, you can't be like that.
That's those weird people. Like, and I totally see people that do that, and I'm like, girl, let me help you. Like,
girl,
don't be begging.
Yes. Okay. I feel like we talked about a lot of stuff, except for I wanted to talk to you about actual fitness. So like a lot of people have, especially women and girls, have opened up to this idea that, okay, I need to start lifting weights and I need to actually change up my fitness style, because what I've been trying to do all these years, it ain't working. So what have you found as like the biggest breakthroughs where people are changing their fitness styles, or like stuff that you're doing? Because you're constantly doing all kinds of different stuff. So yeah, what are you finding that is like most effective? What are you finding that people are enjoying that they didn't think they were gonna enjoy? All that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think number one, it comes down to mindset. First, you have to get over the fact that cardio is not going to save your life. You definitely should incorporate it, but figure out what your goal is. Do you want to look like a runner, or do you want to look like a sprinter? And once you determine what body type or what your big goal is, that's what will fuel what type of programming you want. But that's why I gym hop and share those stories so much, is because I want people to realize like there's not one way of training that works for everybody. Like, yes, if you understand the basics of bodybuilding and strength training, you will go a long way. But there's so many different kinds of training methods now. Like, I do everything from fast twitch at the forum, which uses a lot of machine work and bodybuilding type exercises in a hour segment, versus F45, which is functional training, which is kind of like a hybrid of CrossFit and HIIT training, which is super effective. But then I also like trying really cool things like yoga and ballet and dance and CrossFit, whatever it is. I don't limit myself so that I can take other people with me and help them understand what they can do. My biggest suggestion though is 3 days of strength training. Like at a minimum, this is what's going to help your body stay healthy and for you to have the energy to accomplish anything in life. 3 days of strength training, follow a free program. I have a YouTube video called Free Programs you can download. Great way to get access to them. Then incorporate 2 to 3 days of cardio. Cardio, I cannot stand on a treadmill for more than like 10 minutes. My attention span is just not that long.
Yeah, me neither. I feel like listen to something or watch something.
Like it has to be a form of distraction or have friends. But do that with a class. Like that takes care of cardio for you. You get human interaction and you get the guidance of somebody. So I just gym hop and do first class free or use connections to get into places. But I think ClassPass is a great way of getting entry into a lot of cool things. But switch it up so that your body is always craving something new and you are constantly training yourself to gain confidence in new environments and test your strength. Because a lot of people stick to one method, and I see a lot of bodybuilders do this. Like they're all about, I just got to get big, strong, or big ass, whatever. And then they can't even walk up the stairs or handle 10 minutes of HIIT. Like it's not actually functional training. And when you're not training for function, like you're not gonna live very long or healthy. So try out different things. Like what are some different like classes you've tried that you've genuinely enjoyed?
I've been going to yoga like 3 times a week.
Okay.
Which is like crazy because I never thought I would be doing that at all.
No, but how do you feel like your mindset, your business, and your life has been since you've incorporated yoga?
Like the reason why I started going so much was because I was realizing with the podcast, I was working on my laptop so much and I was slouching and I wasn't going to the gym and I was letting my health take a back burner to me going hard with the podcast and putting out fucking like in like June and July, I was putting out like 20 episodes a month. It was like insane. So it was ridiculous. And it was unsustainable too. Yeah. And so I realized I needed to do something better for my body. And I was doing like some yin yoga before that. I would go to like one class like every couple weeks or something like that. It was really easy. And then I started going to hot yoga and like now I've like fallen in love with Ashtanga yoga. So like, it's really, really awesome. It's a very like disciplined practice. Ashtanga is like, each pose it's every class is the exact same. So you do, cause I like to mix it up too. Like I'll go to some like flow classes where the poses are different every time, but I like Ashtanga because like, it's cool because every single class is the same. So you can actually notice your progress every time because you're like, oh wow, last week in this pose, I couldn't even bind. And like this week in this pose, I'm like super deep and I'm feeling it like really hard or whatever. And so, yeah, that's one thing that I've been really into recently. And then also, just trying to mix it up. Like before that, I was doing like ninja stuff with my friend Connor. Like there's this place called Ninja Quest in Marietta.
Yes, I want to go. Oh my God.
Let's go. It's so sick.
Cool.
It's super fun. Like people from the like American Ninja Warrior show train there. Like real people.
It's a badass place. And it's social too.
Oh yeah. The thing is you gotta stay focused when you're there though, because it's very easy to just goof around for a while. Like if you're actually trying to train, there's some nights that they used to do like ninja night on Mondays where they would set up an actual course like the show and everyone would do time trials on it. It was really fun. Then they would do other nights where they would do these like circuits where they had like a whiteboard with 2 columns. One column was an obstacle and the other column was like another type of activity like push-ups, treadmill, bicycle, whatever. Wow, and then it's really cool. And they would just play songs, and for each song, when the song changed, you would switch to the other side of the column. So for the one side, you would choose an obstacle, and you would do that for the whole song. And then when that song changed, you'd go and do the other thing for the next song or whatever.
That's awesome.
It was really cool.
And that's what people want to know. They want to know that like, hey, if I hate cardio or I hate strength training, like I can go do that. And I really think the best thing is when you find your community, that's what helps you stick to something. Like, that's why, like, the American Ninja Warriors, like, those people are freaking like a cult, but it's because, like, they all genuinely support each other and have watched each other's journey through this.
It's so true. It is like a cult.
Yeah.
Getting in that world is hard because you've got to show you that you're legit too.
Yes.
Like, once people are like, all right, it's almost like joining like a gang or something. Like, you gotta be able to
show me your tricks.
Yeah, it's like, you can't even beat this obstacle. Talk to me when you can do that.
You can go join the 5-year-olds. By the way, there was a course out in Gwinnett. And
Slingshot?
Yes.
Yeah, I used to go there all the time,
these
every
freaking
week.
7-year-olds over here flipping and shit, and I'm over here like, I can barely grab these rings.
Yeah, that was another thing. On Tuesdays, I used to do this family night thing, and I would get all my friends. It was basically like, if you had up to 5 people, you got a certain price. So we would get like 15 people and have like 3 groups, and we're like, yeah, we're a family, and like go in, and it was like super cheap. It was awesome.
Yeah.
I miss those days. I need to do that more. But Slingshot kind of went downhill, kind of sucked.
Yeah, but they were refurnishing or something.
I don't know. Yeah, they need to figure their shit out. But their ninja course was on point.
Yeah.
It was really fun. But people at Ninja Quest in Marietta like laugh at you if you say you train at Slingshot.
Stop.
Because like little kids and
'Cause it
stuff
is
go there, and
kids,
it's
yeah.
like they have like the go-karts and stuff like that. Like Ninja Quest is like, nah, bro, we're serious, bro. Like, we go-karts? Nah. Like,
Yikes.
we're training over here. But yeah, I agree. Like, switching up the training not only helps with your sanity, because you get bored of like doing a certain program for like a couple months. Like, I did this one program where in the beginning I couldn't stop thinking about it. I was so psyched to go work out, and then like a couple months later I'm like doing the same program. I'm like, this sucks, dude.
Your body
like, this is
also
boring.
knows that too. Like, you adapt, but there's some things your body thrives off of and works, but unless you're mixing it up, like, you're really not going to see the results. And obviously nutrition being a big factor in all of this, but I think if you are genuinely happy and seeing results, that's when you want to naturally feed in the good food to fuel those results.
Totally. I feel like this is a good place to wrap things up. We've talked about a lot of stuff. I feel like we could probably do like 10 podcasts.
I know.
So we'll have to do
Oh
it
my
again.
God.
We'll have to definitely do it again.
Absolutely. It's so fun.
But now we talked about, lots of valuable stuff. So if people want to follow you, obviously give them all the info for that.
Yeah. So Instagram, hit me up, slide into DM, smallandstrong.fit. Or I just started vlogging and sharing more workshop style information on YouTube. So Small and Strong Fit. And Facebook, Umama Kibria. I have a influencers group on there as well. Or check out my website, smallandstrongfit.com.
There we go. And I'll make sure to have all the links in the little show notes. So when this goes live, everyone will have all that stuff.
Oh, thank you so much, Andrew. This
Yeah,
is so fun. Can I
this
give
is
you
really
a hug?
fun.
I know,
Yes,
like, you guys
of course.
can't see this.
Of course, but they
like-
can see it on the live.
Ah, there
they
you
can
go.
see it.
Yay.
Yeah, this was really fun. So
Yes.
thanks for being on the show.
No problem.
And we'll see you later.
Bye,
everybody.
guys. Thanks for tuning in.
Boom. There you have it, folks. Another awesome episode in the tank. Thanks again to Umama. That was a super fun episode, and I'm really glad that I was able to connect with her. Can't wait to see how we can collab in the future. And if you live in Atlanta and you want to come sweat with Umama and I, we've got 2 events you definitely need to check out. Number 1 is Turntable Yoga, hosted by Actively. That is actually tomorrow, April 17th, at the Ivy in Buckhead. It's only $5 to attend if you have the free Actively mobile app installed on your phone. And next Sunday, April 22nd, Umama is hosting Sweat with ATL at HX Fitness. It's only $10 for an amazing high-intensity interval training workout, some partner workouts, and some awesome giveaways. I'm very excited about that event. It's going to be my first Sweat with ATL event, so come and work out with us. And to RSVP to that one, just go to sweatwithatl.com, and I'll have the links to both of those events in the show notes. Another quick thank you to Brooke Watson of Keller Williams Chattahoochee North for supporting the show. If you have any real estate needs, please go to her website, brookewatson.house. And if you made it all the way here to the end, just want to thank you, because that means that you probably enjoyed the show. If you're new here, you're probably thinking about listening to some more episodes, but where do you start? Episode 1? No, that's kind of silly. You don't need to do that, because if you like this episode, I've got some really good recommendations for other episodes that I know that you will enjoy. So number one, if you haven't already, go listen to episode 81 with Stephanie Jewett. She's the founder and CEO of Actively Mobile app, which is the host of Turntable Yoga that I just mentioned. But the app is basically like Tinder for platonic fitness buddies. And during our conversation, we talked about her journey, her ups and downs, what she's learned along the way, and what it is like to be a woman in tech. So go check it out, episode 81 with Stephanie Jewett. And also, I know that you're going to love episode 83 with Mallory Hope Schwartz from Hopefully Plated. She's a concierge nutritional planner, a fitness instructor, and just like an Instagram socialite. I had a super fun conversation with her all about nutrition and how everyone has different needs, achieving your fitness goals, and all kinds of other fun tips and tricks. And I feel like she's just like a living Instagram story. She's got it down. So go check it out. Again, that was episode 83 called Living Your Healthiest Life. Coming up next, we've got episode 88 with my friend Austin Distel. Last time I had Austin on the show was back in June of 2017 for episode 14. I think it was episode 14. And he shared his story, his upbringing, what was going on. And a lot has happened in the last 9 months. He moved from Annapolis, Maryland to Silicon Valley with his company, Proof. And he shared the story of how Proof went through the Y Combinator earlier this year. And they raised $2 million in funding just 48 hours after their 2-minute pitch on demo day. Super crazy story. And this was a value-packed episode for sure. If you're into entrepreneurship, technology, or startups, this episode is going to be a must for you. So that one will be dropping on Thursday, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any episodes. If you want to support the show, definitely go to iTunes and please go rate 5 stars. That really, really helps me out getting this podcast out to more people. And if you want to follow me, you can go to my website, andrewdeitsch.com. That's Andrew, DEITSCH.com, where you can find the links to all of my social media handles and accounts, and you can sign up for my email list so you never miss an episode. And sometimes I post some kind of fun stories in there too, but I don't spam you or anything. I only send out an email when there's a new episode. So you guys are the best. Thank you guys so much for listening all the way to the end. I appreciate you guys so much. And if you live in the Atlanta area, I hope to see you guys at both of the events this week. I'm probably going to be at Caffeine and Exotics on Sunday before the Sweat with ATL event. So if you are going to be there, make sure you say hi to me. Anyways, I hope you guys have an awesome week, and I will talk to you guys on Thursday. Bye.
What do you put in this bowl first? Milk or cereal? Go.
You put cereal first.
Okay.